A group of people trapped by rising floodwaters along a river. The guide throws down a rope from upstream. Students pair up, jump in 2 by 2, grab the rope and try to fight their way against the current to safety. But the raging water sweeps them away, one after another. If you were one of the last ones in line, watching your friends disappear right in front of you, do you take the same risk and jump? Or do you desperately search for another way out? This really happened. In Mangatapopo Gorge, at the foot of a volcano in Tongariro National Park, a place carved by water over centuries, beautiful, peaceful, and hiding a danger nobody saw coming. April 15th, 2008, mid-morning. A van pulls up carrying 12 people, 6 men, 6 women. 22-year-old Sally was their guide. McLean was the teacher along for the ride. The rest were students from Elim Christian College, 10th and 12th graders, all in their late teens. Among them was a student named Tom who had cerebral palsy. This hike was always going to require a little extra care for him. It was already drizzling when they arrived. Weather forecasts had warned conditions could get worse. But the organization running the trip had a culture of pushing through. Nobody thought things were that serious yet. Around noon, they geared up and headed into the gorge. The rain didn't let up. The water level was creeping up slowly, quietly. They didn't notice. Along the way, they worked together to make it through deeper sections. At one point, one of the students got so scared by the waist-deep water, she started crying and wanted to turn back. The group talked her through it, encouraged her to keep going. They thought it was just a rough moment in an otherwise normal adventure. They had no idea that upstream, the rain was coming down harder. A deadly surge of water was already heading their way. Around 2 in the afternoon, the group reached a spot called the Halfway Ledge. They were going to stop there and rest. But by the time everyone was gathered, they realized something was wrong. The water that had been clear just minutes earlier was now muddy and violent. The level had risen from ankle deep to knee deep, fast. Guide Sally and teacher McLean huddled up to figure out what to do. Do they push forward to a safety point about 30 meters upstream? Do they wait for the water to go down? Do they turn back and retrace their steps? None of the options were good. Going back meant crossing the same deep sections that had already been dangerous before the water rose. Waiting was a gamble. No one knew how high the water would go. McLean pulled out his radio to call for help. All he got was static. The canyon walls were too steep, the signal dead. Time was running out. Sally could see the fear in the kids' faces. She was worried about hypothermia if they stayed in the cold water too long. But mostly, she was terrified the rising flood would just sweep them all away. At 2:25 p.m., Sally made the call. She and one of the students, Smith, would go first. They'd climb along the edge of the cliff where the current wasn't as strong and try to reach the safety point upstream. If they made it, they'd throw down a rope and the rest would follow. 7 or 8 minutes later, a rope came down through the water. The remaining 10 people split into 5 pairs. Each pair paired a weaker swimmer with a stronger one. The plan was simple. Grab the rope, pull yourself upstream, get to safety. The second pair, Proctor and Peter, jumped in. But the current was already way stronger than when Sally went. Proctor lost his grip. His helmet and shoes got knocked off against the rocks. Somehow, he managed to grab the rope again downstream and held on. They made it to safety, barely. The third pair, Portia and Natasha, weren't as lucky. The water hit them hard. They couldn't hold on. The current ripped them away. Both drowned. The others watched, helpless, frozen, watching 2 of their friends disappear into the brown water. The fourth pair, Tara and Brooks, jumped next. Same thing. The current tore them off the rope. Brooks managed to grab it again at the last second. He survived. 2 more pairs still had to go. By now, everyone was terrified. But the water was still rising. Every minute they waited, their chances got smaller. They had no choice. They jumped. The last pair was McLean and Tom, the student with cerebral palsy. McLean tied himself to Tom with a rope. He wasn't going to let go. They went in together, fighting the current, trying to reach safety. The water was too strong. They were swept away. Neither of them came back. When it was over, out of 12 people, only 5 survived. The guide Sally and 4 students. 7 people died. 7 young lives gone. And here's the part that makes it even harder to accept. If they had just stayed where they were, everyone might have lived. Because after they tried to evacuate, the water stopped rising. It stayed steady for about an hour, then started going down. And there was another safety exit, only about 50 meters downstream from where they were trapped. If the organization had given Sally a proper map, if they'd noticed it on the way in. Maybe none of this would have happened. The gorge management ended up being fined $480,000 NZD for safety violations, but no amount of money brings those kids back.